If you want to get to the other end of the bayou, you've got to go about 20 miles out of your way. So we're going to see how long it takes us. It's about 3 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. Whoa, Nelly!
Whoa, who scared me?
It's hot out there. To quote the late, great Keith Jackson.
Yes. Whoa,
Whoa, Nelly! It's hot. We're under
is.
a heat advisory. It's
Right.
the first of the year until 7 tonight. First of all, I just want to say, do not try this at home. Now, I am down at the bottom of the coulee to show you just how big this project is. This is between 14 and 17 feet high. It's 20 feet across at the bottom, and then at the top of the coulee, it goes 90 feet across. Again, this is just to show you just the size and scope of this massive project. Now, the Nails have been reflecting on a lot of memories. About 15 years ago, Steve Nail says that Dr. John was here in the piano room when he called over the intercom and let him know that his piano was on fire. Authorities say they have rescued a 14-year-old girl. They say her guardian forced her into sex trafficking. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cajun Dome for the 32nd annual KLFY FoodNet Food for Families food drive. We've got some vehicles pulling up right now. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran remain high as President Trump gives new details on why he called off a military strike just minutes before it was set to launch. The rally ended about a half hour ago, but as you can see, her supporters are still here. The Standby Daisha rally lasted for about an hour. There were speakers from various teachers' unions and even Daisha Hargrave herself. A Lafayette native about to enjoy 100 years of living has some solid advice about being grateful.
Yes.
And that is really important that FEMA administrator got to see for himself the damage here in Acadiana. We have breaking news tonight. Authorities are on the scene of an officer-involved shooting in Abbeville. Right now, find out the status of the Lafayette City Marshal's office now that Brian Pope is going to jail. And a seafood fettuccine plate lunch is on the menu in today's Acadiana Eats. Well, now that suspended City Marshal Brian Pope has been convicted and sentenced to jail for malfeasance, what's next for the Lafayette City Marshal's office? Whoa, Nelly!
Whoa, who scared me?
It's hot out there. To quote the late, great Keith Jackson.
Yes. Whoa,
Whoa, Nelly! It's hot. We're under
is.
a heat advisory. It's
Right.
the first of the year until 7 tonight.
Yes, it's 7 tonight, and I think we may be placed under one tomorrow as well. 3
Acadia Parish women have been arrested for illegal drug possession. Cynthia Gautreaux, Keisha Thibodeau, and Summer Candelarii were booked into the Acadia Parish Jail. Investigators say the drugs involved in the arrest included oxycodone and meth. Acadia Parish Sheriff K.P. Gibson says the arrests are part of an effort to fight what he calls a growing drug epidemic in the parish. A Metairie man has been arrested in connection with 2 deadly shootings over 2 nights in a row in Jefferson Parish. 22-year-old Sean Barrett faces multiple murder charges. 3 people were killed in the apparently random shootings. The first shooting was Monday night. The 22-year-old man died at a hospital. The next day, 2 more men were shot and killed. Authorities say the shootings may be connected to a 4th homicide in New Orleans. Investigators linked Barrett to the shootings after they found a phone where the first shooting happened. The motive in the murders isn't clear. The state is replacing thousands of voting machines, but it now has less money for the upgrade. That's because during the legislative session, lawmakers took $2 million from a voting technology fund to pay for government operations. Now, the search for new vendors hasn't started yet. Senate Finance Chairman Eric LaFleur says he's confident that when a contract is finalized, lawmakers will come up with the funding needed to replace the voting machines. Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin has nearly $6 million in federal money set aside for the machines. Coming up on News 10 at 5, what parents can do to make sure their kids are safe at summer camp.
Just in time for next week.
Well, yeah, hang on to it. I mean, he's not going to need it today.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but not today. Maybe to keep the sun off, but
Yes.
yeah, next week a better chance of showers.
Because those are big old umbrellas.
They're big.
I mean, they're new, but
They're
they're
so
big umbrellas.
nice.
There's
Yeah.
a lot
Like
of
I want one.
shade. Yeah, I want one too.
I want one.
Can I get one?
Yeah. I'll see what I can do wrong.
See if you can pull some strings, maybe. All
Right.
I think you
Yeah.
can. Well, coming up next on News 10, we're going to check out one of the hottest dishes at a family-owned plate lunch spot that's been in business for years. A family-owned plate lunch spot in St. Martin Parish has been serving customers for decades.
I guess not. That looked fabulous.
Well, one thing I've learned about plate lunch is you always get your money's worth.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, there's a lot of food
and
to fill
it's
you up on that plate.
hard to go wrong in Southwest Louisiana,
You can't.
where everybody can cook.
Yes.
Well, tomorrow, as we said, is the first official day of summer, and a lot of parents will be sending their children to camp for a little outdoor fun.
In today's Health Minute, Meredith Wood shows us what parents can do to make sure their kids have a happy and healthy experience. And here's what we have coming up all new for you at 6 o'clock. Acadiana is under its first heat advisory. We'll talk to a high school football coach about how they practice safely in the summer. Plus, if you plan on doing any of that genetic DNA screening, find out how to prevent your identity from being stolen. Join us tonight for News 10 at 6.
If you have an excuse to treat yourself, today is National, yes it is, Vanilla Milkshake Day.
Yum! The vanilla milkshake has been around since 1885, but listen to this, guys. Back then, there was nothing vanilla about the sweet drink. According to the National Day calendar, those milkshakes were made with whiskey,
What?
not ice cream.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Whiskey
I'll have to try
shakes.
some
Now,
of
that all
that.
changed in the early 1900s when ice cream was added to what is now a wholesome drink, but I guess you could probably
I'm sure
put
so.
some libations in there if you wanted to.
If you wish.
I mean,
I'm sure that, well, that
whiskey
obviously
flavored
wasn't for
milkshake.
kids back then.
No, not then, but not anymore either.
Don't get a hold of Ed's milkshake.
See you at 6. Two Eunice High School students are facing felony charges for allegedly pouring a household cleaner into a teacher's drink. News 10's Rebecca Marroquin has the story. Now, Chief Fontenot says as far as they know, the teacher has not experienced any health issues from the tampered drinks. Deputies say a Tampa woman made a threat to shoot up an elementary school on her Facebook page. Deputies say Juliana Cote posted a picture of a fake gun on her Facebook page. Authorities say she threatened to shoot everyone at the nearest elementary school. The University of Louisiana at Lafayette held its spring commencement ceremonies today. UL hosting 3 ceremonies at the Cajun Dome Convention Center. News 10's Laura Levine talked to some of the new graduates at the first ceremony today. The final graduation ceremony for engineering and University College started at 4 o'clock. A new lion exhibit opens tomorrow at Audubon Zoo in New Orleans. During a recent tour, the African lions could be seen lounging in the shade of an enormous rock surrounded by open grass and tree limbs. Visitors will be able to see critically endangered lions, 3 females and a full-maned male. Zoo curator Joel Hamilton says there are only about 20,000 lions left in Africa. A Lafayette native about to enjoy 100 years of living has some solid advice about being grateful.
Yes, he born with complications.
But now more hospitals are using iPads to help in their recovery. Nicole Killian tracked a family in Virginia who is using this cutting-edge technology. And here's what's coming up for you all new at 6 o'clock. A Lafayette police officer went on social media with a post that has some residents concerned. We'll tell you why. Plus, be careful where you click. We'll explain email spoofing and how you can avoid it. Join us tonight for News 10 at 6. All right, thanks, Heath. Well, there was quite a party at the Ellington of Rain this morning. Residents of the nursing home and rehab center were treated to boiled crawfish and live Cajun music.
They even had a surprise visitor. KLFY News 10's Gerald Grunig. When Gerald arrived, he was given a birthday cake with one of his favorite sayings. Come on, somebody. Happy birthday, Gerald. It looks like you had a good one. Boy, did he.
Good stuff, yeah. Gerald goes to an event, and it's a birthday party for him, and they're having a great party, you know, just with the crawfish and the Cajun music.
Kidding.
I mean,
and I heard it was a surprise when he walked in because he had no
I did
idea
hear
it was
that.
going to happen.
Yeah, what a treat.
Yeah, and Heath has a treat too, making my mouth water.
He does. We'll see you at 6. Well, Lil Buck Senegal and Dr. John, who died last week, they left quite an impression at Dockside Studio in Maurice. Both musicians were frequent guests there and recorded several albums. Here's more in a story that you'll see only on 10. Dockside Studio owner Steve Nail says Dr. John and Lil Buck Senegal were members of the Dockside family.
Cannot count the number of guitarists that Little Buck has influenced, or Dr. John with the pianist that he has influenced. Absolutely. It's just, they're masters. They both were masters. This is a bad week for musicians.
Both musicians spent a lot of time at the studio. Dockside owner Cezanne Nails says Lil Buck was an iconic presence at Dockside.
He is the best. He can do anything. He's amazing. Actually, as a storyteller, he is probably tied with his talent in playing guitar, too.
They say Dr. John, who musicians called Mac, was a free spirit. He would use sage to clear the building of bad spirits and pray and meditate with everyone before every session.
He is really that person. He's not putting it on. He talks that way. He lives that way. That's just how he lives.
Now, the Nails have been reflecting on a lot of memories. About 15 years ago, Steve Nail says that Dr. John was here in the piano room when he called over the intercom and let him know that his piano was on fire.
And we had to rush in there and put the piano out because his cigar had, over the whole album, had went into the piano and caught it on fire.
Dylan Nails is Steven Cezanne's 19-year-old son. Here's a picture of Dr. John holding Dylan when he was a baby.
You still get the same positive vibes from it when people remind you of it. I think that's really a big influence on why I do what I do now, playing music. Just especially him, Lil Buck, and everyone else who's passed through here.
When Dr. John saw Dylan, he was just like, oh, yeah. And then I said, so yeah, Mac, how many kids do you have? And he said, yeah, it depends on who you ask.
Now, the Nails say that Dr. John hadn't been to Dockside Studio in about 10 years. Lil Buck was there just a few years ago. Now, Dylan Nails says that he saw him perform at the Acadiana Center for the Arts just a couple of months ago. Vice President Mike Pence saw the damage here at Mount Pleasant Baptist Church firsthand Friday afternoon. He offered the pastors and parishioners words of comfort and encouragement. Vice President Pence met privately with pastors and walked with them around what's left of Mount Pleasant Baptist Church near Sunset. He then took time to meet with parishioners, offering hugs and words of encouragement. He said what happened at the three churches was evil.
Your resilience and your faith and your courage in the wake of this unspeakable evil has inspired the nation.
The vice president says the president and country stand with the three churches destroyed. St. Mary Baptist Church in Port Barre on March 26th, Greater Union Baptist in Opelousas on April 2nd, and Mount Pleasant Baptist on April 4th.
And to see the way people here in these churches and this community and across Louisiana responded is an inspiration to the nation.
Yes. He also lamented the recent attacks at churches, synagogues, and mosques.
No one should ever fear for their safety in a house of worship anywhere in this country, anywhere in the world. And these attacks on communities of faith must stop.
The pastors told me they were happy to meet Vice President Pence, who offered his support.
To have one of the highest officers in America to come and support us means a whole lot to us. Knowing that we're not in this thing by ourselves.
He said that if ever we need his help, to call him. He left his cards, and I'm comfortable with that. And I believe if his heart is in the right place.
Vice President, I really receive his spirit. I believe he's really concerned, and this was a great experience. And I think it's just the beginning of something that's real awesome and great.
All of the pastors say that they were encouraged by the vice president's visit. They say they will be in touch if needed. In St. Landry Parish, Rob Macko, News 10. The Esterwood Pontoon Bridge in Acadia Parish has been closed to all traffic since the middle of May. Now, the DOTD is repairing the bridge, but the long detour has been inconvenient for drivers. The bridge is located on LA 91, just north of the village of Esterwood. Here's more in a story that you'll see only on 10. The Esterwood Pontoon Bridge on LA 91 crosses Bayou Plaquemine Bruley in Acadia Parish. The bridge and operator house were damaged in the 2016 flood. The DOTD closed the bridge to all traffic in mid-May to make repairs.
When a bridge becomes inoperable, as that bridge is, we have no choice but to repair it.
DOTD District Administrator Bill Oliver says the project is about 75% complete. The wooden structure was repaired and the electrical components in the house were replaced. Crews are now in the process of replacing pulleys, cables, bearings, motors, and a gearbox. The bridge closure requires a lengthy detour, and a lot of residents are frustrated. If you want to get to the other end of the bayou, you've got to go about 20 miles out of your way. So we're going to see how long it takes us. It's about 3 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. We're going to use the stopwatch here, and we're off. We drove south on LA 91, then east on US Highway 90 toward Crowley. We're just getting into the Crowley city limits. We've been on the road now for 9 minutes and 40 seconds. We drove through Crowley, and our journey continued north on LA 13. We got onto I-10 West and got off at exit 76 and headed south on LA 91. We were lucky we didn't have any traffic or wrecks to deal with, and here is the bridge closed sign. And we are now at 26 minutes.
from one side of the bayou to the other.
David Vidrine of Rain likes to fish on the north side of the bayou with his sons.
We have to come through the highway instead of 90, so it's not a big inconvenience. It's just add a few miles to the travel.
He says he feels for those who work on one side of the bayou but live on the other. Some residents have been calling for the bridge to be replaced instead of just repaired. Oliver says the Coast Guard requires the bridge to be operational. Replacing it would mean designing a brand new bridge and roadway.
We're actually going to have to relocate roadway. There's environmental issues in there. It's a lot more involved than just going out and say replace the bridge.
DOTD District Administrator Bill Oliver says the project costs $1.1 million. They hope to finish it before the July 4th holiday.